Hi investors! Today we're going to deep dive into the newly listed company called Abadi Lestari Indonesia or Realco. Realco is engaged in the business of bird's nest, which Westerners call it caviar of the East. I recently visited a Chinese restaurant nearby our office and found a very interesting menu that surprised me. Let's take a look. This beautiful piece of Australian Wagyu steak costs 488,000 rupiah per 120 grams. I think that's a reasonable price and I would have no problem ordering that with my friends or family. Now, let's take a look at another menu. This is bird's nest soup. This appetizer costs 448,000 rupiah per serving, which is roughly the same amount compared to the 120 gram Wagyu steak. Seeing the price tag on this bird's nest soup just blew my mind. So what is a bird's nest? Edible bird's nest is the nest made from hardened saliva of a swiftlet, a fast-flying bird found mainly in Southeast Asia. Unlike other birds that make their nest using twigs and grass, swiftlets use saliva to make their nests. The bird's nest is an expensive ingredient for bird's nest soup, and for centuries, bird's nest soup is considered a delicacy in Chinese culture for its perceived health benefits. They're mostly produced in Southeast Asia, where Indonesia controls 70 to 80% market share and mostly consumed by Chinese communities. The health benefits of bird's nest include anti-aging, boost sex power, prevent lung diseases, and improve complexion. Bird's nest is not for everyone. It's actually for the high-income households. High-quality bird's nests can be priced at $1,000 per kg. Wow. Surprising fact is that bird's nest is mostly produced here in Indonesia. Indonesia accounts for 70 to 80% market share of edible bird's nests in the world. And because consumption of these edible bird's nests are mostly Chinese communities, Indonesia exports 95% of bird's nests to Hong Kong, China, Singapore, and others. Now let's take a look at Abadi Lestari Indonesia or Realco. Realco was founded in 2014 and IPO'd on December 8, 2025. They raised fresh funds of 105 billion rupiah by allocating 20% new shares to the public. Its market cap as of December 9th stood at 881 billion rupiah, representing a PE of 29 times. Their main product is processed bird's nest, generating revenues of 231 billion rupiah and net profit of 12 billion rupiah for the first 5 months of this year. They transform this bird's nest into edible bird's nest and package and market the final product. Realco's IPO break new record. In the IPO process, Realco's new shares offering was 948 times covered. This record-breaking demand exceeded previous records set by CDIA, RATU, and IMAS. Realco's record-breaking demand brings us to rethink our previous market thesis that we are not in a bubble territory. Please revisit our earlier video on this. We will be discussing about our latest market view in our upcoming videos. Now back to Realco. The company's revenue is 88% comprised of processed nest. And as briefly discussed earlier, most of the processed nests are exported to countries like US, China, Hong Kong. One thing to note is that Realco has a big homework to diversify their clientele. As of 2024, 3 trading partners account for 75% of their total sales. We will revisit this after 2025 numbers are officially released. So the most important thing to check is the global demand for edible bird's nest. According to Edible Bird's Nest Market Analysis Report, the 2 largest markets, namely US and China, maintain robust CAGR growth, which should enable Realco to demonstrate steady revenue growth going forward. In terms of economic and wealth growth of these two countries, we highlight that GDP growth is a mixed bag. While US GDP growth will remain strong from 2% in 2025 to 2.1% in 2026, China's economic growth is likely to cool down from 4.8% in 2025 to 4.2% in 2026. However, given bird's nest is mostly consumed by the affluent segment, forecasting the wealth growth of these two countries will remain a key factor. According to UBS's Global Wealth Report, growth in average wealth per adult over the next 5 years in nominal US dollars remain robust in both US and China. Next, let's take a look at how the bird's nest is produced. There are 14 steps in the making of a final bird's nest product. We highlight that the whole process will require high capex, labor-intensive operations, and production know-hows. So in conclusion, the entry barrier to joining the bird's nest production is not as easy as it seems. Realco is also diversifying their product lineup. On top of their champion product, bird's nest, they currently have meat, poultry, and collagen products ready to be marketed. In addition, Realco is developing new protein sources from aquaculture and insects. Wow! Indeed, their R&D costs have been on the rise from 0.5% of revenue in 2022 to 0.68% as of 5-month 2025. However, the absolute amount of R&D expenses allocated might not seem so exciting. But according to our conversation with the management team, R&D is a group initiative and that we need to take a holistic view in terms of the numbers. We will get back to our viewers on this in our upcoming videos. The company is also targeting new regions that share similar cultural values and meaningful demand for wellness products. These include Thailand, Vietnam, US, and Philippines. If executed successfully, we may be able to expect strong revenue growth over the next couple of years. So this brings us to the question, what about Indonesian market? Well, the home turf is a challenging market for bird's nest. On the demand side, awareness of bird's nest is low. It was never a part of the local culture. Also, given income remains low on the nationwide level, bird's nest product is considered too expensive. Lastly, Indonesians love sweet, salty, and punchy bursts of flavors. However, bird's nest is too bland to satisfy the taste buds of Indonesians. On the supply side, why sell to Indonesian market when China and Chinese communities in other markets will pay higher? So it's natural that manufacturers will prioritize export markets over domestic market. Also, why go through the hassle of spending heavy marketing expenses when it's already well known in other parts of the world? The conclusion is bird's nest is not a product for Indonesian market. That is why Realco is developing new wellness products that can be well received by the local consumers, such as chicken broth and other wellness products. Let's take a look at financials. During the 5 months of the year, Realco has generated revenue of 231 billion and a net profit of 12 billion rupiah. If we assume a straight line and annualized numbers, revenue is likely to come in at 555 billion and net profit at 30 billion. Margins are also expected to demonstrate continuous improvements from 1.6% in 2023 to 5.4% expected in 2025. The company is also efficient. If we take an average G&A expenses per employee, we see a 12% improvement in 2024 compared to the year earlier. As long as efficiency is well maintained, the only homework Realco needs to do is to focus on the top line growth. On the balance sheet, assets and equities are growing while liabilities are shrinking, a healthy sign of balance sheet stability. One might argue, however, that gearing is still high at 2.9 times as of 5 months 2025. However, we highlight that the company underwent a significant drop in its debt-to-equity ratio of 8.8x in 2024 to 2.9x this year. So the moral of the story goes like this. Realco is a bird's nest exporter which recently went public. Their main export product destinations are US and China, where GDP and wealth growth are very stable, which guarantees stable revenue growth going forward. We don't think we need to worry about competition too much as the industry has natural high entry barriers. Realco's success will depend on product diversification as well as geographical penetration. Last but not least, consult with Samuel representative and wish you all chuan. If you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to Samuel Sekuritas Indonesia YouTube channel. Thank you.